Good morning. You are listening to Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network and SHR Media, and also on High Plains Talk Radio. How is everybody this Monday morning? This chilly, dreary Monday morning. Today, I am broadcasting from our nation's capital. It's a dreary, rainy 36 degrees here in Washington, D.C. I was in town this weekend for the Black Americans for a Better Future 5th Annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards this weekend, which was just absolutely fantastic. Really, the honorees were true trailblazers in the Republican Party, and not just because they were Black Republicans, but they were just trailblazers. Period. In the sacrifices and what they've endured. So, in order to be trailblazers in the Republican Party, so it was just a fantastic event. There was a reception on Saturday, and then, of course, the awards luncheon was yesterday. But that's why I'm broadcasting from D.C. this morning. Anywho, our guest today is former Colorado Senator Ted Harvey, chairman of the Committee to Defend the President, formerly of the, and I guess maybe not formally, of the Stop Hillary PAC. So we should have some interesting conversations to have with him this morning. We're going to dig into the Trump tax plan. The president spoke with, I believe it was airline leadership last week, and he dropped a little nugget of, tax cuts are coming soon. So I thought it would be prudent for us to take a look at his tax plan, his plan for tax reform, and the impact that it might have. Senator Ted Harvey, in addition to what he's doing now, did serve on the Appropriations Committee while he was a sitting senator. So I thought we would chat with him about that. If you would like to catch me on Facebook Live, if you want to, see my, I don't know, not so smiling face. I think I have a Monday morning grimace this morning. But if you'd like to listen to the show on Facebook Live, you can certainly pop on to Money Talk with Melanie on my Facebook page. I'm live on Facebook now. I'm going to click the link here. Okay. Put a link there for you to go into the chat if you would like to do that. That's always fun. And our chat room's usually pretty active. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, we've had many fabulous guests this morning. For example, we have the good senator this morning. We had Ebony Williams last week. We've had tons of CEOs and owners and entrepreneurs. So if you're interested in being a guest on the show, please do go to the Exceptional Conservative Show website at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. You can click on Contact Us or give us a call at 201-660-1329. What's going on today? What's going on in the news? Well, as anticipated.
Incoming call.
As anticipated, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals denied the Trump administration's attempt to lift the restraining order on a travel ban from the 7 terrorist hotspots. I don't think anybody was shocked by that. It seems the courts don't do much of that whole Constitution thing anymore and are just, doing a political thing. Am I allowed to say that? As long as I'm not running for anything, I guess I'm allowed to say that. That's in my humble opinion, and I certainly don't mean to disparage judges, but it's first of all, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals actually was not ruling on the executive order itself, but it was ruling on whether or not the previous court basically had standing to apply the restraining order. that they did. But the bottom line is there's still a restraining order on a ban. Now, what Trump is thinking about doing, and he likes it to be a surprise, which I'm not a big, surprise person when it comes to, public policy, but here it is. We have President Trump. He is either going to draft an entirely new executive order. I think they've done away with the idea of trying to get the case expedited to the Supreme Court. And my guess is that we're going to see a new executive order. And you would think that Congress would be afraid of what he's going to do next. Like, you would think that they would know enough to be scared, but apparently not. They haven't learned. They haven't learned their lesson yet. So we'll see what he comes up with. Also, it seems last week he made up with Japan after violating the one China rule, which says, China still believes Taiwan is part of China, even though although they fought for their independence and got it. So the United States has a long-standing tradition of treating that entire region, so to speak, including Taiwan, as a part of China. So President Trump called and made amends to that with the president of China. So we'll see how that, China is very important to our economy, so it was prudent to do that. Hopefully he's going to learn to keep his mouth shut, until he knows what he's talking about. And, I love that you got elected, President Trump, but you're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. Today, he is scheduled to meet with Steve Mnuchin, who should be confirmed as Treasury Secretary today. So let's hope that I can't imagine. The Democrats don't have the vote, so I can't imagine what shenanigans they could pull to stop that from happening. So that should be happening today. Like, fingers crossed. Interesting thing that didn't get a whole lot of press, that at least I didn't hear a whole lot about it, and I paid pretty close attention, is that he also signed an executive order creating a Department of Justice task force to combat crime and cartels. That's huge because we've never really done that before. I feel like we've just kind of accepted cartels as a way of life, and God bless them for trying to do something about it. So I'm happy about that, and I hope that the next thing he does is sign an executive order to do something about Chicago. As he said, he was going to do 2 more kids got wounded this weekend with guns. It's just ridiculous. So, that said, like I said, we have Senator Ted Harvey on the show today. After the first break, we're going to have a talk with him about President Trump's tax plan, at least as it stands now on his website. We're going to dig into that when we come right back in a couple of minutes.
Ken and Josie Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior. Here's Jersey Joe, hungry for common sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead John and Sackhead Clan. And we're working on the integration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, Packheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Good morning. We are back. You are listening to your business diva, Melanie Collette. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. Today we have our guest, Senator Ted Harvey. He is also, in addition to being a former senator, he is a chairman of the Committee to Defend the President. Good morning, Mr. Harvey. How are you?
Good morning, Melanie. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on. I appreciate it very much. Before we get started, if you would, could you give the audience a little bit about your background and also tell us a little bit about the Committee to Defend the President, what that organization does, if you would.
Sure, you bet. Thank you. Well, I have been in the Colorado legislature for 13 years. I served 5 years in the House and 8 years in the Senate. Prior to that, I've been actively involved in Colorado politics. My first position was in the Reagan White House when I was 22 years old, and came back to Colorado and got actively involved in politics and served here in the legislature. And then when I got out, I was term limited in 2014, and when I got out, a number of friends of mine and I who have been actively involved in politics around the country, we got pretty upset with what happened in the Benghazi situation, and my brother has been a foreign service officer in the Middle East for his entire career, and so the Benghazi situation hit pretty close to home. So we started an organization called the Stop Hillary PAC, and it was before Hillary even got into the campaign, and we never, in our wildest dreams, would have guessed it would have exploded into the organization that it has. It has become the largest organization on the right that has been fighting to ensure that Hillary Clinton never steps foot in the White House again. And we got over 2 million members to become part of our organization and contribute over $6 million to make sure that we stopped the most corrupt individual ever from running for president to get into the White House. And after we were successful with that, and Trump and the American people won the White House, we saw what the left was continuing to do from day one in trying to discredit the election, discredit the presidency, and try to go after every single issue that Trump tries to move forward. And so we weren't just going to sit back. Our members weren't just going to sit back and allow the left to take shots at the president without having an organization from the right that is going to defend the president, defend the policies that the American people elected the Republicans on from moving forward. So we took the Stop Hillary PAC and started a new project called the Committee to Defend the President, and we are actively engaging across the country to make sure that the agenda that the American people voted on moves forward, not only in Congress but also in the White House, and defend the president against all of the attacks from the left that are going to continue to happen for the next 4 years. So we are going to actively engage in that effort as long as we need to.
And thank you. Listen, thank you so much for doing that, because without organizations like yours, she might have won. I mean, really.
Without a doubt.
That
close. It was that close.
Absolutely. And thank God for the Electoral College, right? Like,
That's right. Thank God for the founding fathers who understand that we didn't want to have a democracy. We wanted to have a republic.
Exactly.
Where the President of the United States would have to represent each of the states, not just a couple of the large population states.
Exactly.
And it was an ingenious way to make sure that the entire United States of America was represented by the President of the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. I feel like the liberals are still shell-shocked. They have I think their case of denial needs to be studied. It's so incredible how far in denial they are. Like they really.
Well, what I keep saying is that it's a national temper tantrum.
Yes.
You're seeing happen across the country.
Yes.
That the 3-year-olds who've been in charge, who had control of the White House, who's had control of the Congress, now have no control whatsoever, and they're acting like 3-year-olds and throwing a national temper tantrum. And it is embarrassing for the Democrat Party, a once great party that represented the middle class and the downtrodden, and now it has become just this elitist group of left-wing activists. And when you have the minority leader in the House being from San Francisco, and you have the leader in the Senate being from New York, you have a problem. And
absolutely.
They aren't representing the mainstream American people. And it's really, in my opinion, sad to see what the Democrat Party has become.
It is. I tend to agree with you there. And what's killing me, I mean, at least for Republicans' sake, when we lost, badly twice in a row, we did some introspection. You know what I mean? We did some soul searching and said, like, what are we doing wrong? We didn't say, the electorate is not very bright and it's a mess. You're right. I mean, they are an absolute mess. And to think, a week before the election, they were saying that the Republican Party was the one that was a mess. And, after November 8th, it's pretty clear that it's the Democrat Party that's a mess. And, they partially have Barack Obama to thank for it. And I've pointed this out as an African American myself, who never voted for Barack Obama, that, you people should have been keeping an eye on him. He was your guy. You should have been holding him accountable and making him do the hard work and negotiate instead of whipping out his pen and his phone. Had you all done that, you might not have a President Trump. But because you didn't keep it up.
That's exactly right. You look at the way that they totally catered to their special interest groups, and in particular with the African American community. The Obama administration and the Democrats totally disregarded the needs of the African American community in inner city America with regards to education. They in Washington, D.C., where they had a voucher program to allow inner city kids to be able to get a voucher to go to whatever school they felt was most appropriate for them. And it was an incredibly successful effort.
Yes.
As soon as Obama got into office, he did away with it. Then they had charter schools in Washington, D.C., and the administration did everything they could do to undermine the charter school movement in Washington, D.C. And this is school choice to provide incredible opportunity for these kids that are stuck in a zip code that is failing them in their public schools. And this is the way they treated the African American community across the country. They took them for granted. And what you saw in this last election was a large percentage, not a huge percentage, but enough to make a difference in the election, said enough is enough. You guys have taken us for granted for long enough, and we're going to give Trump a try. And honestly, I don't think any other Republican nominee could have won this election other than Trump, because he spoke to those needs of the African American community, the blue collar union workers out there. He hit a tone with them that no other Republican has been able to do. And I think it surprised the Democrats at how resonant that message was with the Democrat voters, and Trump pulled just enough away to be able to win the presidency.
Absolutely. And listen, I mean, you have to, I mean, the hubris of the Democrat Party to not even go to the middle states? Come on. During the presidential election, every vote counts. Like that's election campaign 101. You don't take the voters for granted. Period. You just
after the primary, Hillary Clinton never went to Wisconsin.
I know.
Never.
I know. It is.
How does she expect the voters to vote for her when she never steps foot in their state? And you saw Trump going into Democrat territory all over the country.
Yep.
And the Democrats thought that was foolish, but the joke's on them.
Electoral college. Say it with me, Democrats. Say it with me, Democrats.
Trump to win Pennsylvania was shocking. The Democrats got to be completely shocked that Trump won Pennsylvania.
Listen, I almost fell off my chair. I'm from New Jersey. I'm originally from Philly. Believe me, no one was more shocked when Pennsylvania was the only one left on the left to go. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to sleep now. I gotta see if this is really going to happen. So,
and I knew he was going to win that state. The press was just trying to do everything they could to find another vote, and it was not there. I knew he was going to win it hours before they called it.
So apparently Jay-Z and Beyonce are not the key to winning the to winning the state of Pennsylvania. I guess, but that because that's what Hillary did before. Like I don't know, a couple of days before the election, and for somebody like. I just hate that whole like playing the race game drives me completely insane. So, and I personally find it insulting that like
it is insulting.
It really is, because what's that have to do with anything? And it's basically saying, listen, black people, all we have to do is bring your entertainers out and you'll vote for me. Thanks for that vote of confidence and intellectual integrity. And the killer is 95% of black folks still don't get it. They still don't understand. They don't see it. And it is the most frustrating. It is so frustrating. It's the most frustrating. It's frustrating.
That's why I look to you to be able to get out there and speak to that population and show them how the Democrat Party's policies are hurting that population, and how economic opportunity and personal integrity will raise them up out of the situation that they're in far greater than what the Democratic Party has been offering for the last 4 decades. And look what the Democrat Party in control of all of these major cities has done to the African American community, and it's been one of the greatest scourges on our country is what has happened in the African American communities in these inner cities where the Democrats have been in control for so many years.
Yep. I could not agree with you more, and I shout it from the rooftops, and there are many, 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 contrary to what the media would have you believe, there are tons of African American Republicans, tons, and conservatives, tons of us out there. I'm around them all the time. Okay, so, like I said, the media would have you believe that, like, there are very few of us, but that's just simply not the case. It just isn't. But believe me, and we are all working very hard on getting that message out. But I wanted to talk to you more specifically about the Trump tax plan. Now, the only one that I found was the one on his website. It's 4 pages long, and it looks like the same one from the campaign, which is fine. And of course, it's campaigny, which anybody who's worked on a campaign, understands kind of what that means. It's not policy. It's campaigny, so it's dressed up nicely, and it doesn't really give you any details behind the how. And those of us who are into economics kind of want to know the how. But That said, the tax relief, the four general principles that he has is that there would be tax relief for middle class Americans. In the way they would do that, keep more money in your pockets and increase after tax wages. Duh, everybody promises to do that. Well, no, that's not true. Barack Obama straight out told everybody that he was going to raise taxes, and they still voted for him. So I'm gonna recant that everybody says they're going to reduce taxes, because I forgot that Barack Obama said that twice and he still won, which I found to be incredible. He's going to simplify the tax code. That's a beautiful thing. I hope that actually happens. Grow the economy by discouraging corporate tax inversions, which is another beautiful thing, and make us globally competitive. So in other words, try to lower that corporate tax rate from 35% to 15% is his plan. Now, he also claims, and listen, I know it's your job to defend the president, so please help me with this, because as a armchair economist, I'm not seeing this. But
You're not seeing what?
I'm not seeing how this is the next point, that it's going to be debt and deficit neutral.
Well, like I said, I worked in the Reagan White House, and
yes.
If you watch what the Reagan tax cuts did, not only in the 80s but also in the 90s, it spurred an economic boom that was the greatest boom in our nation's history. The only problem was that they also increased spending massively because of the Democrat-controlled Congress. If we are able to put in place, one, I think doing away with Obamacare, which was the number one promise that the Republicans have given